Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The opinions of hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the opinion of this network.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama. This is Ghost Talk with 187 PI. Sit back and prepare yourselves for an adventure into the paranormal world with host Shelly Robertson and 187 PI research team. Ghost Talk is broadcasting live from Ohio's most haunted jail. Learn about their ongoing research at the jail and abroad, investigation techniques, and their personal encounters. Here is your host of Ghost Talk and 187 PI founder, Shelly Robertson.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson, and I'm coming to you live on this New Year's Day, 2021, from the haunted old Paulding County Jail. And tonight's show is, you know what? It's a special, and it's absolutely fantastic because we have all of the show hosts of all the shows on our station, WBHM-DB. And tonight we have the owner of the station and the voice of Fate Mag Radio and Paranormal Experience. We have Kat Hobson here tonight. We have got Denise Pridemore from the Paranormal Pride Show. And we have Teal Gray from Paramysteries. And we also have Brian and, forgive me, I'm so bad at this. Hello, Brian. Chip in. Any of you guys on the other show? I'm doing a bad job here.
Hi, I'm Pete Havilland from our show, Full Spectrum Project.
Full Spectrum Project. You see, it left me so quickly.
And as long as you remembered me, it doesn't matter that you didn't remember Pete, by the way.
Oh, here we go.
Yes.
Pete will get you.
Hey,
Pete will get
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm the important one. What can I say?
Oh, here we go.
And I'm trying to get Angie, but she's not answering yet.
I'm having to start off apologizing. This is not good, Brian.
But it's not unusual.
It gets better.
It's not unusual.
Start the year like you ended it.
And what is so fantastic is everyone has kind of it's all paranormal shows but everybody's got their own little niche in it, and they're fantastic shows, great guests. And since we're at a round table, let's start off with Kat herself. So let's talk to you, Kat, about your Fate Magazine radio show, when you got into that, and then we'll go around the room, and then we'll get into some great thoughts and on paranormal subjects.
Why does my round table seat have a corner in it?
That's so we can push you in the corner because nobody has named you baby. So.
It's the only place it can fit, too.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'm hoping that we have Angie because it looks like she's there. And if not, hey. So that is good. That is a positive. So
cool.
You want to know about Fate? I got Fate. I met the owner of Fate Magazine at the Ozark Mountain UFO conference a couple of years ago. She's lovely. If you've never met Phyllis, you need to find a way to do so. But, and she's tough as a lighter knot, too. But anyway, when the same person who absconded on us, Shelly.
Wow, yes.
Was hosting Fate Magazine at the time and was not very honorable toward her. But that was then. This is now. But I told her that I'd be glad to, run ads for her or do whatever. Didn't mind a bit. And so we became friends. And she called me one afternoon, and I was sitting out on the deck just, being one with the squirrels and stuff. And when I answered the phone, it was Phyllis. And she said, I have been thinking, and I've been talking to my spirit guides and my trouble dolls. And I was like, you have trouble dolls? And she was so surprised that I knew what those were, right? But hey, I'm a Caribbean kind of mindset girl.
I'm sorry. What is a trouble doll? I don't know what that is.
Trouble dolls are small.
I really don't know. No.
Well, it's cool because they're a Caribbean-based legend, but they are lore, and they are small cloth, normally dolls.
Okay.
If you have troubles, if you're worried, if you're afraid of something, if you have a big project coming up, whatever is happening in your world that you're not coping with well, you tell it to your trouble dolls. You put them under your pillow while you sleep, and when you wake up the next morning, you have your answer. And
Kat,
I have
We
mine.
thought the same thing. I think I need a couple of those.
Well, my daughter got those for me when she moved to New York, and I've talked to them many a time. So it's really a kind of nifty thing, but kind of a funky thing too. But Phyllis was using them.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Mine would have burned up a long time ago.
I'm all the way out here in California, and I actually have trouble dolls. However,
Do you?
I believe I do, and I actually think they've been on strike for the last few years, but we won't even go into that.
Well, you have to talk nicely to them.
I try,
But
but
anyway, Phyllis's trouble dolls and her spirit guides told her that I was to be the host of Fate Radio and forever and always. And I was just like, wow. I love your trouble dolls. And your spirit guides.
What I always say is that when you have something terrible that happens to you, a lot of times it's clearing a path for something better to come. And so the troubles that we had with the previous network, I think it turned out in our favor.
Okay. Well, I think it did too. And
Yes.
things have turned around for Fate Magazine. And Phyllis is now putting that out by herself. She is doing everything from the layouts to the ad sales to the screening the stories that are going into it. And I have some to give away. I'm going to start giving, since we can't go to events yet, I am going to be giving Fate Magazines out. So, hey, Lori Dorsey. So, hey, Sherry Horsick. But I am really excited that I have those. And we also have T-shirts, and she sent me one. I'm so excited. And so I'm going to tell you that those shirts are the bomb. They're comfortable. They're soft. They are, you can tell that, Stevie Tombstone had something to do with that because I love my, Lucky I'm Not Dead shirts. So I think
she have them up on the website for purchase?
They are. And
okay.
And there's actually a buy one, get one. If you get a subscription, I think you get a shirt. And that's a $20 or $25 value. So it's pretty cool.
Well, I'll tell you, when we were at the Scarefest event, the last one we were at we gave away like piles and piles of those Fate magazine. Actually, the issues that you had brought. I mean, people were just scrambling to get those.
Well, we have fantastic writers in them too. We have
great stories.
Yeah, and they cover every aspect of the paranormal and anomalous fields. So, and so does the show. She knew that I was getting very involved in ufology, so I had a lot of friends who would fit in with the Fate history. And thank you, Denise. But that's right. FateMag.com is that website. So go hit it up and get yourself some magazines. They also have archives. So it's really great. But I have been doing, this year will be 3 years of Fate. So I'm really excited.
It doesn't seem like it's been
I
that
know,
long.
right?
Time has really flown. My goodness.
Yeah, but 6 years going into my 7th paranormal experience with Kat Hobson, and 3 years going into my 3rd year on Fate. So I'm very blessed, and I did not mean to have a network. So that's a blessing too, even though it was in disguise at the time.
That's right. That's right.
Big
Blessing
disguise.
in disguise.
Really
Exactly
good
what it
disguise.
was.
But here we all
And
are.
so Denise, let's talk about your show a little bit. When did you get it started, and who's going to be your next guest, so people can tune in?
It was April 2015, and I started on the same network that Kat was on at the time, and so I'm coming up on 6 years, and I can be found on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Central right here on WBHM-DB.com. And my next guest is going to be Chuck Banks. He goes under the pseudonym of Charles Anthony for his writing. And he has a new project that's going on that he wants to tell somebody about.
Yeah.
And so this will be the first show where he tells people what his project is. So no one else has had him on yet to talk about this.
Wow.
And so it'll be interesting. He hasn't even told me what it is yet. You know, unlike some of my other guests, they tell me up front what the announcement is. And nope, he hasn't told me. So this is going to
be a surprise for everyone.
Yep. And as I was telling Kat before the show, I'm lucky that I got to be here because we didn't have power this morning because of the ice storm in Kansas.
Oh, no.
So we've been on the Weather Channel all the last few days. So, and then this will be my last show for when I have the show on Monday. I won't have a show for 2 weeks because we're going to Vegas for our next new grandbaby.
Well, so, congratulations on the new grandbaby.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. And, you know, since we have to drive, I'm having to watch the weather like a hawk to make sure we can get there safely, because this isn't the time of year to be driving cross country.
Well, safe travels, putting out some positive energy to you for that.
Well, right now, if everything stays the way it is, as the weather looks, we should be able to get there just fine. And we're planning on just getting out there and hanging out. Well, we're going to stay at a hotel for the first few days that we're there until the night before she goes in to have the baby, because we want them to have their time before Grandma starts taking over everything.
and hugging up the baby.
Well, my granddaughter, she's there, and she needs Grandma and Grandpa to be there to watch her, but we don't want to just jump right into that. We want to ease her into us being there.
Yeah.
So, and making it all about her. So we get to celebrate Christmas again.
Wow.
Oh, that'll be fabulous.
Yeah, because we told her we'll bring your Christmas presents when we come. We're not going to mail them. This way we can at least be there. And I said, you get to have a second Christmas. She already celebrates Hanukkah. She celebrates Christmas, and now she's going to celebrate Christmas again. And and we're going to take her shopping so she can pick out something for baby brother. But this is a kid that she investigated out at the Pioneer Saloon.
Mm-hmm.
We took her out there, and she had the little the ghost meter, because the millimeter is too expensive.
Yeah.
She's got the little ghost meter, and she's walking around investigating everything. And when it went off, she goes, "Grandma, it's going off." And she was only 3. And she just had a great time out there. But she was the life of the party. They had a band out there.
Those ghost meters. I know they're cheap and everything, but I like mine.
I like those too. And they're, because they've got that big broad top. The whole thing lights up. I think that's cool.
Well, I like the gauge on it. I
Mm-hmm.
like the gauge on it where you can watch,
Yeah, and so for her, it was real easy because she, we just tell her point it like a flashlight, and she did. But she stole everybody's hearts out there. We took her out there, and there was a band, and she just started tapping her toes and everything, and she thought that we took her there to see the band.
Wow.
And the band thought that we brought her there for them to see her. So it all worked out great, and she ended up being on a bunch of people's Instagram stories, her dancing with the band and giving the band money and stuff. It was just funny as heck.
Cute.
But so needless to say, she knows some of our paranormal places out there, and she likes to tell us about all the ghosts. So and that's what she tells everybody. She'll tell everybody, my grandma sees ghosts. And so it's interesting at that, but that's what's going on in the Pridemore world right now. Is we're just looking forward to getting out the door next Saturday.
Oh yeah,
and getting out there to be just Ron and Denise, Grandma and Grandpa, to the other grandkids, and meeting Mr. I think his name's going to be Nolan. So unless something changes, we want to meet Mr. Nolan.
Awesome. Now we'll talk to you, Miss Teal Gray. Tell me about paramysteries. And that's a fascinating thing to me because I am all about mysteries. I really am.
Well, there's some great ones, and it's great to be here with all of you tonight. I guess I'm the newbie on the block, but I've been doing this for a long time. I won't tell you how long. I don't want to tell my age. This too early in the year for that. But
I know the answer.
You do. Okay, the check's in the mail. The check's in the mail.
Checks in the mail.
Quiet, Pete.
Sorry, but I knew that answer.
It's to me, it's fascinating because I do a lot of world travel and going to sacred sites, and a lot of people don't realize I'm doubly an ordained minister. So I've decades and decades I've studied, all ancient texts, different religions, and the way we move through this world and the history that comes with us, and so much of the folklore and things that it's really more than just tales. And people say, well, some of the stuff as it's passed through, history, doesn't that lose something like the old phone game where as a kid you'd say you'd pass, you'd whisper in somebody's ear, and by the time it got through 3 or 4 people, it was totally wrong. But that's not the case in oral histories. It's not the case at all. Historically, they are very accurate, and through the years, because I think it's such a serious part of their lives, and it was taken very seriously to be the storyteller of any group, still is, so they took great pride in it, and care in the stories remain the same, which are incredible when you are figuring out maybe some of the new cryptozoology, theories, even ufology, all of it. If you have those base histories that you can go back to and tap into with some of the new theories, it really helps a lot to put together some of these mysteries. And sure, until you have them, before you, with the interview mic in front of them, it's all speculation. But it does help us to kind of put together, some solid possibilities for some of the things that happen in the world. So that's what the show is really about. I also talk a lot about and have written about angels, light and dark. So it's a little bit mystery, a little bit religion, a little bit of planetary and science, and I like to just kind of mix it up for everybody.
Wow, very, very interesting.
I expected you to say a little bit rock and roll.
It is a little bit rock and roll, right? Yeah, a little bit rock and roll. Got to keep it fun, moving forward.
Absolutely.
And now we're up to Pete and Brian and Andy with, well, yeah, we're going to get to all the information about them after we take this very short break. Okay, folks, and we'll be talking to Pete and Brian and Angie when we come back. You are listening to WBHM-DB, Birmingham, Alabama.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk radio.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Since 1948, Fate Magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson. And tonight we've got the New Year's special show going on with all of our fantastic show hosts here on station WBHM-DB. And prior to the break, we getting to know Kat a little bit and Teal Gray and Denise Pridemore. And now we're up to Brian Clune, Pete Havilland, and Angie Mohle from the Full Spectrum Project. So how about you guys tell us a little bit about how you got started, a little bit about your show, and what you got coming up next.
All right, but before we get going into the show, I just wanted to say that for everybody out there, for all of the show hosts, for those of you like me that were born in a barn, just wanted to let you know that my door is always open.
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Okay.
And we're off.
Pete always does that when I give out these little bits of, like advice and opportunities and stuff. I don't know what it is with him, but he just doesn't like me doing that. So
they're dad jokes, dude. Come on now.
Who's dad?
Did you say dad jokes?
Yeah, bad jokes.
Bad jokes or dad jokes?
We torture Kat every week with a couple of dad jokes. I'm surprised that she hasn't flushed the show yet.
I love your show.
Actually, I know she was thinking about it. Well, actually, she was thinking about flushing me, but we won't go there at all. So,
hey, we have resolved everything, and we have gotten to where we communicate. I think we communicate great.
I agree. So, Pete, the Full Spectrum Project was your brainchild. Take it away.
Yeah, well, this is actually the second version of the Full Spectrum Project. I asked Brian to come on after we had interviewed him on another show that I was co-hosting at the time, and we became pretty good friends. And we've been doing this since about August. I mean, so we're real new at it.
No. Actually, I think our first show was April, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think it was last April.
Yeah, so I mean, we're not even a year into this yet for us, but we kind of go. Our type of show is kind of like a modern day In Search Of. We try to we handle ghosts, UFOs, weird deaths, mysteries. I mean, just pretty much anything that really catches our eye. We've had a lot of really good guests.
Yeah, true crime. I mean, literally
true crime.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Matter of fact, we just had a big discussion, a couple of big discussions. One was on the JFK assassination, and another one was on the Amityville Horror House. Just to say kind of a little bit along the lines of what we do. As far as my background goes, I've been doing this for like 30 years or so. As far as 35 actually, as in the field. I'm a hypnotherapist by trade.
And you say I'm old.
You are old. You're older than me. You could be my older brother.
But I'm much better looking.
Yeah, well, plastic surgery does wonders. I'm also a licensed private investigator, so I it's kind of my take on things. I study parapsychology. I apply parapsychology theories and trends to what I do, and
good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating.
Unfortunately, Angie has sort of taken over our fan base. So Pete and I don't have any fans. They're all Angie's fans, which is really kind of scary.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you that Weird World News is awesome.
It is. And it was one of those things where we just thought, all right, what can we do to make the show a little bit different? And Pete said, well, he kind of remembers that we sort of had a paranormal news segment when we were doing Planet Paranormal Presents, and it kind of morphed because we didn't want to do the same thing into the Weird World News. And then he's like, well, I have a friend that'd be great for it. And he brought Angie on, and it's just taken off, and people literally love that segment of the show. As a matter of fact, I think it goes for almost a half an hour now, doesn't it?
It does. But Angie will, when she's coming out of it, say, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and boom, y'all can just move on. So it works out perfect.
It does. So
she really does that well. And she actually is not in this call. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble adding her, because she deserves to be in here. She's pretty amazing. Yeah, it says that she's unavailable.
It's got to be the jail.
It's something, but I'm not at the jail. So that place is where y'all just have to. We'll catch up about the jail. That jail is astounding. So.
Yeah, and you'll all have to make a trip down here one time.
Yes, please. I'm in California, and we're under complete lockdown. We're not even supposed to leave the house. So
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm going frickin' stir crazy.
And that's just
Wow.
Well, Teal's in Texas, but as soon as I can, I would get up there.
That's right.
She's free to travel.
Texas also.
Pete is too. And Angie too.
Yeah, Angie's in Texas.
Well, I'm here. I'm here a lot. So whenever you guys want to come, you just give me a yell. And,
Okay.
And, we can do that.
Oh, we yell a lot.
Yeah, Pete usually yells at me.
And they both yell at me.
The road trip. Oh boy.
I just say make sure you have that electronic cattle prod handy.
Yes.
Because it sounds like you might need that to round up a couple of us.
What is it with Texas and electronic cattle prods? My wife my wife keeps saying that Angie and Pete are supposed to send her a cattle prod for me. He keeps saying every time I put out a little bit of advice. Yeah,
it explains a lot. Believe me.
There's a lot of answers there.
It explains a lot. Listen, we'll save it for the road trip. We'll make it a big surprise for you.
Yeah, I'll get the
that'd be fabulous.
all fired up.
I'm actually thankful
round everybody up.
because Angie was actually supposed to send the cattle prod to my wife before we went on a road trip to Texas, and thank God it never arrived.
Oh my!
I'm hoping it got lost in transit.
Mm-hmm.
Probably went by way of China.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about what everybody's most like. I'm gonna say what your most maybe frightening experience has been in the paranormal. Something that just really stands out to you, and was actually a little frightening. How about Brian and Pete? Start off. You got any stories on something that frightened you?
Well, actually, since I kind of look at things a little differently, I haven't really been frightened on a site. I look at these folks to be people, and I've really never ever met a stranger. So I haven't really been frightened.
Even in your early days, starting out.
Okay, early days, 18 years old. Yeah, I remember one of my first investigations got me really started on all this stuff. Let's see. I had heard that there was a house out by where I lived that this lady had been experiencing noises, and me being the type of person that runs towards stuff instead of runs away. I guess I'm stupid that way. I seeked her out and introduced myself. Now being 18, I'd done some studying and stuff, but nothing that that would allow me to really do anything but observe. And so I introduced myself, and I told her, what I'd heard. And I asked her if it was true. She said that it was. So I just went over there, kind of every day, and we just went over there and talked. She had told me that she was hearing what sounded like footsteps upstairs and boxes moving around. And one day when I went over there, she had made me lunch, and we became pretty good friends. And she had told me that she was getting ready to move. She was older, and her daughter was going to take her back up north because she was getting to the point that she really couldn't deal with the house by herself anymore. So as we were kind of talking, I heard what sounded like a box moving around upstairs. Now there was nobody there but she and I. And I had been around the house quite a few times before this event happened. So I go upstairs and turn a corner and got hit in the head with a book.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the book.
Are you sure that wasn't me?
I didn't know you by that time. Thank God.
Yeah, because I bought a copy of War and Peace to hit you with now. So
Yeah, this was a hardback version of Gone with the Wind, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, and the room was kind of set up like a library, so I mean there was no way to really see if anybody was hiding anywhere, and I didn't even see it coming from the corner of my eye, and that kind of scared me to know that there were energies there at that time that could move something with that mass at that speed to hit you, and it hurt. I mean, it wasn't like somebody chunked it at me, but I mean, it hurt.
Yeah.
So we went back downstairs, and she was apologizing, and it was that point we were talking about her leaving, and I could see that she was upset, and at that point in time, I kind of figured, well, it might have had something to do with her sadness. I couldn't really pinpoint A to B at this point, but I did know though I found it really strange that after we had talked about her sadness of moving and things, and that it might have had a correlation. And like I said, at that point in time, I really didn't understand a whole lot about parapsychology and things. Later on, I learned a lot. But, so, yeah, I would say that kind of scared me. I mean, it came out of nowhere.
Wow. What about you,
freaky.
Teal? What about you? Have you got a frightening experience?
I do. I'm laughing because it's one of those things. It sounds, as my daughter says, you need to go think about your life when you can say that it's normal to, see spirits or talk to spirits and, have seen angels, things like this. So with that as a background, this actually was the first time I had been scared. And this was about, I guess was about 4 years ago. And I was in York, England, for the holidays. And I had taken the whole family and a friend of mine. So there was I took 7 people and myself. So there was 8 of us. And we were staying in a 650-year-old house. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous place. Well, of course, it had, stories attached to it, these kind of things. But you could hear a weeping woman, at the top of the second floor. There was all these different stories and kind of things. And it's like, oh, I didn't actually think that much of them, just because I think it was just the busyness of the time and that kind of stuff doesn't scare me. So everybody wanted to go all these different places. We happened to be visiting at a time when they had one of the worst floods in York that they had had in over 20 years. So
Wow.
Places were having to, evacuate. We were so high up on a hill, we were fine. But, the stores, everything around restaurants, everybody was scrambling to go get stuff. And I said, listen, you guys all go, do what you need to do, get what you need to get. And I'll stay here just in case anything happens on this end, all that. Everything will be fine. Everything will be great. And several of the people were like, are you sure? Because, while this place is gorgeous, it's kind of spooky. And I said, oh, of course, this is where you get into trouble with this bravado. And I was like,
Right.
oh, please, this is what I do. This is nothing to me. This place is no way is there a thing here that's going to bother me. And they're like, okay. And I was like, oh, please. And I said, in fact, I'm going to go take a nap. Well, I didn't take a nap. So I'm all full of myself. And I just didn't think, it just didn't feel bad. And I don't think it was bad. I think it was just wanting to interact. And it really played out like a bad B movie for me. It's the only way I can describe it. All the things that you think are rubbish or, oh my God, that's just something that would be in a, cheaply made movie for effect happened. It happened just like boom, boom, boom. First thing that happened. And I thought, oh, this is weird. I had forgotten there even was a wall phone there because the guy had said, all the, that kind of stuff had been disconnected. It didn't work. And I said, oh, well, that's fine. Well, we're not going to use that anyway. We got our mobile phones. So no problem. So anyway, they're not even gone 15 minutes. and the phone rings. So I dash up to the second floor. It was a 3-story house. So on the second floor is where the phone was. And actually the phone happened to be in the part of the wing that I was staying in. So I answered the phone, and I just heard this, and it started to get louder and louder. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I hung up, and I hung up, and I said out loud, this is ridiculous. If you want to talk to me, you want to communicate with me, then just do it. This garbage on the phone, I don't know. I'm sure that this is just a mishap, right? Well, the phone starts ringing again, and I had this chill come through me because I thought, you know what? You're just mouthing off just right and left, and you're not going well. So immediately I knew nobody was there because I had, walked down there, locked them out on the first floor. And you could hear on the third floor, heavy boots, like boom, 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 walking across the floor to come to the door. And the phone's ringing. And I pick up the phone, and this voice is like, and it gets louder and louder. I dropped the phone. I will say I didn't run, but I walked as fast as you could possibly walk before you start running, down the second flight of stairs to the first and left. And I could still hear the boots, And so I went out into the courtyard, locked the door, and I was like, okay, get a grip here. Something had to happen. And what worried me is maybe somebody somehow had broken in, And so I get myself together, and I'm like, you got to suck it up, Buttercup. Go back through this place. And there was nothing had been unlocked. There was no windows, no nothing. Nobody was there, but it's that heavy kind of a weird feeling to the air. It's like nobody's there, but it's more than that. It's just a weird feeling. And that night, they kept tapping on my window by my bed, and I'd look thinking it's a bird and realizing there was no way that could be a bird for me. And then the classic things that had never happened to me before, where, you get the covers pulled off of you, things like that. So everything happened like a bad B movie to me for that week I stayed there. But it actually, it didn't bother me enough to change rooms or move or do anything else, but it really did wake me up to the fact that, hey, those are in those movies because it happens, so I had to eat a little crow, and but it did. I will say that the phone situation, because it wasn't connected and it ringing like that bothered me more than anything else. But I think part of it is because, you hear heavy boots or something on another floor, and you're by yourself. I never do. I'm just practical, and I always think somebody broke in or it's something else. I don't automatically go to Aunt Tilly or, Uncle Bob or whoever is going to visitation. I think someone broke in. So part of me was startled, for the biggest part, thinking, oh my God, there's somebody in this house, and there wasn't, so, but yeah, it was really interesting. So that one I would have to say was the first time I ever, as I say, I didn't run, but I shuffled quite quickly down and out of that place. So it was pretty neat. It was really interesting place because in the courtyard was walled off from everything else. It had these big old keys to get in the gate to even get to the courtyard to get to the house. And part of the wall was still there. It was the old Roman wall. So it was a really, really beautiful place. And I can't wait to go back again. But I won't be in such a bravado mood with them. I'll have a lot more respect for the possibility of what could happen. So that would be my scary one.
Well, that was a fascinating story, you two, Brian and Pete and Teal. And when we come back after this short break, we will hear about Denise's and Kat's most terrifying experiences. You are listening to WBHM-DB, Birmingham, Alabama.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope.
That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson. And if you missed the first part of the show, no worries, folks. You can check it out and get the full show archive on Spreaker, Google Play, iTunes, and iHeartRadio at your leisure. As a matter of fact, pretty much anything that you're subscribed to, you can find us there and get the show archive. And tonight is a fantastic show special with all the show hosts on WBHM-DB radio station. And prior to the break, we were talking about our most terrifying paranormal experiences. And next, we are up to Denise Pridemore. Have you got a terrifying experience you want to share with us?
My most terrifying experience was actually an out-of-body experience when I was 10 years old, when I saw my father be murdered by his father.
Oh.
So to me, I mean, it's all real. I mean, it was completely real. And I was actually like 17, 19 miles away from where my father was killed.
Wow.
And the thing is my dad didn't get killed. Well, he got stabbed in one place, but he died in the hospital. And I saw it all from before he got stabbed to the last thing he said when he died.
Oh my.
And so I had an out-of-body experience before that when I was 4. But I was 4, you know.
Right.
You don't know what's real or whatever. And my family had convinced me that I didn't have that out-of-body experience. Basically, you just have a very active imagination, Denise. And that was I witnessed my grandmother's murder. I was in New Jersey. She was in Maryland. So, you know, there's no way I could have known that she had been killed. But again, you can wipe out the first one because I was 4, you know, because you don't know what to be scared of when you're 4. You're scared of everything. You're scared of, my dad always told me that there was a devil under my bed, and if my foot hung over the edge or my hands hung over the edge, it was going to grab me.
Right.
So needless to say, everything before that didn't really matter very much because, you know, you can reason it away, or you can say, my parents just said I was a nutty kid. And so, but when I was 10 and I got up the next day and told my mother everything that had happened in front of my dad's girlfriend, who was there with him and witnessed all this. I know, mother and girlfriend, odd situation. It was 1975. There was a gas shortage. No, I'm not going to go into that, but it was a different time. And and the girlfriend, my dad's girlfriend, confirmed everything I said was right. And that was when my mom told me, you can't tell people what you see and what you hear. And that's when she believed that I could see. And, but again, that it took an experience that was so real, but I could feel it all, you know. That was the scariest thing that ever happened to me in a paranormal sense.
That is pretty tragic and terrifying to me. That would, yeah, that's what an experience.
Yeah, the good news is that my dad's death made me the person that I am. He made me strong, and you know, here I am today. Never been to jail, you know, things like that. That, you know, this could have went really bad.
Oh yeah.
So the way I look at it is, he made me the strong person that I am today. And did it create the feeling I needed to be in the paranormal? That did not. It's just the paranormal was in my blood from the time I was born. So it is what it is. So
wow. I mean,
can anybody beat this? Come on.
I don't know. That's pretty almost makes me speechless to have had something like that happen. You know, that's pretty horrific, actually.
It is, but like I said, I could use it as an excuse for every bad thing that happens in my life.
Well, sure.
Or I can use it as the reason why I do everything in my life the way I do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And after, my dad's been dead 45 years, 50 years. Nope, 45. He's been dead 45 years. It's just, I'm just so used to it now that it doesn't seem to be.
I mean, did it leave a mental imprint? I mean, do you see that scenery ever? You know what I mean? Did it affect you?
There are times that I do, but it seems to be more around times that would be family times.
Right.
Like Christmas, or it would happen the day it happened on July 3rd. So Independence Day sucks for me. So my mind has to be somewhere else. I have to be busy. So I don't think about it. But then, of course, sometimes it comes to me when I'm not thinking about it, and that's the part that I can't control. But what's strange is that there have been maybe only 2 more out-of-body experiences that I've had in this amount of time since I was 10. And it's could be because...
Were they tragic events? All of them? Were all of them like something tragic?
No. The other 2 were not. It's just the first 2 were, and I guess that those were the life-changing events for my family.
Right.
So, like I said, it is. I kind of have to let it be what it was at the time, and make sure that I don't make it a negative thing going forward. You know, which is what I've done. I deal with death in a very, very healthy way, I guess. I don't dwell on it. But I will say the worst part was losing my whole family after that. After my dad died, my mom took us in hiding. Basically, we always had an unlisted phone number. We moved around a lot. We made sure that my grandfather could never find us again, and that none of that family knew where we were until 1998.
Wow.
So, like April never would have known that I was her cousin if in 1998 I hadn't went on a road trip across country and stopped by to see our aunt, and our aunt called her dad to introduce us as adults.
Wow.
So it's a I guess if I went into this story, it's amazing that I have as much family as I do, and I have so much family I don't even know everybody well. I did when
Okay.
I was a kid. Before I was 10, I knew all my dad's side of the family, knew everybody. So until then, until I was in my 30s, I did not know any of them anymore. And so that road trip, when I went across country I went to Virginia Beach. I went to Williamsburg to study at the College of William and Mary for a week. And when I did that, that's when I stopped in to see them. And that's when I got my family back.
And that was a horrifying experience, I will say. And next, let's hear from Brian. Do you have a terrifying paranormal experience you'd like to share?
Terrifying. I don't know whether this would classify as terrifying or not. But Alcatraz, and it's kind of funny because you're kind of broadcasting from a prison, and I was going to say my most interesting, let's put it as interesting, thing that I have had happen during investigations happened during one of the overnights at Alcatraz prison. And it was the first night that my team had stayed there. There was myself, my buddy Bob, Ash, who unfortunately is no longer with us, and his wife. And it was probably about, I'd say 3 o'clock in the morning. Everybody else that was doing the overnight was sound asleep on the island. And we were like, you know what? This is Alcatraz. No way are we going to sleep. We didn't know whether we'd ever be able to get back to Alcatraz to do an overnight. Luckily, we did actually the following year, but this time we were like, you know what? No. So we were in the medical isolation ward, which is just above the mess hall at Alcatraz. There's a stairwell that you go up, and when you go into the medical isolation area, you walk through what I would say is a normal door, but it has bars on it.
Right.
So when you go in, there is a room to your left, which wasn't accessible because the prison was using it as storage. There was a room directly in front of us, which again, you could get in, but it had a bunch of stuff that they were storing in there. And then there is a room off to the right, which is a very large room, completely empty except for the standard metal folding chairs. And then in the left corner is another door that we couldn't open, but it actually led to a stairwell that went down, and this was on the outside of the prison, that went down about 100 to 150 feet to the lower walkway.
Okay, so you have got us on suspense through all these doors and staircase, and I want to hear exactly what happened to you when we come back from this short break. And I'm sure everybody is on the edge of their seat waiting for this. That's right. That's right. You're listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WBHM-DB, Birmingham, Alabama.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Windsor Johnston. The U.S. has surpassed 20 million confirmed cases of the coronavirus. NPR's Dave Mistich reports the grim milestone comes as the number of infections continues to surge across the nation, with hospitalizations at record highs.
Less than a full day after ringing in 2021, the United States has surpassed 20 million coronavirus cases. It's a fresh reminder that new cases continue to rise across the nation, even as rollouts of multiple vaccines provide some hope that the pandemic will begin to fade more quickly. The United States experienced a spike in cases throughout the winter holiday season. It came despite repeated warnings from public health officials who've said not to travel or gather outside one's home. Some states are seeing hospitals reach their highest levels of use since the pandemic began, further exhausting already strained healthcare workers. Dave Mistich, NPR News.
Congress will convene next week to formally count the votes cast by the Electoral College in the November election. It's the final step in affirming Democrat Joe Biden as the president-elect. NPR's Kelsey Snow reports Republican Senator Josh Hawley says he plans to raise an objection to electoral votes in at least one state, Pennsylvania.
Hawley is saying he's speaking up for people who feel disenfranchised, and he's basing this off of baseless claims of voter fraud that have been disputed by numerous agencies, including Attorney General William Barr. He and at least one House Republican are coming together on this, and other Republicans plan to object and are filing long-shot lawsuits to try to interfere. But most Republicans say these efforts undermine faith in the election and in democracy.
That's NPR's Kelsey Snell reporting. Wall Street has finished out the year with record gains. NPR's Jim Zarroli reports the economy is slowly rebounding amid the coronavirus pandemic, but some analysts warn that it could take years to make a full recovery.
When the lockdowns began, stock prices plunged. On one day in March, the Dow fell nearly 3,000 points, forcing the suspension of trading. But soon it began to creep back up again, and by August was hitting records. This came after the Fed and Congress put together a package of lending programs and supplemental unemployment benefits that went a long way toward restoring confidence in the market. Tech stocks like Amazon and Netflix also benefited from the lockdowns, and a new generation of online traders came on the scene, boosting the price of superstar stocks like Tesla. Shares of the electric car maker rose 700%, making its founder, Elon Musk, the world's second richest man. Jim Zarroli, NPR News.
Wall Street is closed today for the New Year holiday. This is NPR News in Washington. The Finance Minister of Ontario, Canada, has resigned. Rod Phillips has stepped down after returning from a 2-week tropical vacation, despite government guidelines urging people to avoid non-essential travel. In a video posted on social media, Phillips was shown drinking eggnog beside a fireplace, when in fact he was in St. Bart's. In a statement, he apologized, saying that traveling over the holidays was the wrong decision. A title for county-level officials in New Jersey that critics have called racist and outdated has been dropped. As Joe Hernandez from member station WBGO reports, a new state law banning the term freeholder takes effect today.
The word freeholder dates back to the era before the Revolutionary War, when only white male landowners who were free of debt could hold public office. Critics of the title, including many Garden State elected officials, call it an example of structural racism. Under a state law taking effect this year, county-level officials will now be called county commissioners, like in many other states. New Jersey was the last state in the country to use the term freeholder. For NPR News, I'm Joe Hernandez.
India is one step closer to approving its first vaccine for COVID-19. A government-appointed panel of experts has authorized a vaccine developed by AstraZeneca and Oxford University for emergency use. It will now send its recommendations to the country's drugs regulator. I'm Windsor Johnston, NPR News in Washington.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson, and tonight we are doing the New Year's special show with all the show hosts on WBHM-DB radio station network. And prior to the break, Brian had us on the edge of our seat telling us his most interesting story from Alcatraz, and I can't wait. Let's hear it. Let's finish, Brian. I'm going to hear this.
Okay, so I'm going to keep you hanging for just another minute. Well, no, you had mentioned, that this was a New Year's show, and how many people on New Year's Eve at midnight actually go and kiss somebody? It's become a tradition, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, here's why you shouldn't do it.
COVID.
No. It has nothing to do with COVID. It's just when you kiss somebody at midnight, you shouldn't do it because it's the first date. So, keep that in mind next time. Now, back to Alcatraz. Wow, I didn't even get a groan.
Because I'm
We're
sitting
used
here,
to
I'm
you.
just like, I'm stumped.
And Pete, I think he just passed out. All right, so
Thunk.
Again, I apologize to everybody listening.
Well, somebody should. Somebody should.
I should have that apology on a card, so every time he says one, I'll just push a button.
Hey, I can do that. I have that capability.
Standard apology. There you go.
There you go, Kat. Make one of those for us, or either that, or like just a real bad groan. It's like, oh man.
Now, see, those I'm used to. So, all right. So Alcatraz. So, we decided we were going to try and do an EVP session in the medical isolation ward. And as I said, the only room that we could do it was the one to the right that had the folding metal chairs. Now, again, it was just myself, Bob, Ash, and his wife, Laurel. Now, we sat down for maybe 15, 20 minutes, and we were kind of taking turns asking questions. Is there somebody here? Were you a prisoner? The standard type of questions. Now, we didn't get the feeling that anybody was listening, so we decided, all right, well, we're going to get up. We're going to go to a different room in the medical isolation area. As we walked out the main door, I realized that the batteries on my recorders were going dead. So I told everybody, hold on a minute. I'm going to use this bench out in front of the door to set my stuff down and change batteries. So if anybody else needs to change batteries, you might want to do it now. So as I'm changing the batteries, we start hearing noise in the room we were just in. So we're like, well, this is weird. I mean, there's no closets in there. The only thing that was in this room were, I believe, 7 metal folding chairs. So we're like, well, okay, we better go check and see what's going on. So we go back in, and all of the chairs that we had just been sitting in were completely moved. All 7 chairs were in a different location than they were just a few minutes ago when we walked out. So we were like, all right, this is different. So we sat down again and tried to make contact with whoever or whatever may have moved the chairs. Again, nothing seemed like, it was trying to communicate. We weren't getting a feeling. The only one on the team that really has any kind of psychic ability, shall we say, is our founder, Bob. And he said he really wasn't getting anything. So we sat down again for maybe another 15, 20 minutes and decided, all right, well, let's go to a different area because we're really not getting anything. We walk out the main door. As soon as we walk out the main door, we start hearing noise coming from where we just left again. And we're like, wow, okay. So we turn around, we go back in. Now all of the chairs are back where they had originally been when we had first gone in there. So
my.
Yeah. So we're kind of like, all right, we'll try one more time. So we sit back down in the chairs, and Bob starts the questioning. And one of the things he says is, if you don't want us here, all you have to do is let us know and we'll get out. Right after he says that, Ash's chair, and so everybody knows Ash was about 300 to 330, 320 pounds. So he was not a small guy. Right after Bob says, if you don't want us here, we'll get out, Ash's chair slides back probably a good 4 feet, slams into the wall. He gets knocked out. And as the chair was sliding, we hear, "Get out."
Oh, my.
So we did. But
did you leave?
We did leave because we did tell, whatever spirit it was that we would get out. However, we only left for maybe 10 minutes, and then we were like, you know what, let's go back. So we did, and we didn't get any other activity the rest of the, at that time, morning. But yeah, that was one of the most interesting things that I have had happen. And we actually do have a little video with you can sort of hear the chair sliding and you can hear the "get out." And we have that up on our Planet Paranormal Facebook page. The one you have to like, not the one you have to join.
And Ash was wanting to go back after that happened to him?
Yeah, we're not normal. So
I can vouch for that.
Yeah, thank you, Kat.
You're welcome.
But like I said, we had already been in a few areas of the isolation ward, and then when that happened, we were just all so excited. We're like, "Oh, this is cool!" And so we kind of, not normally, but we went back.
I don't know if my chair was slammed against the wall and knocked me out of it. I don't know. I mean, I've never had something like that happen to me, so I don't know how I would react. I think I would be thinking twice about going back in there. I don't know. I don't know how I would react.
Yeah, and I mean, we've never had anything like that happen before or since. So that, like I said, that's still one of the things that we always look to as far as the most interesting thing that has happened to us. And come on, it's Alcatraz.
Right. And it just shows the energy that can be kicked up,
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that would be a pretty terrifying experience. Do you have one for us, Kat? One of your most, I don't know, maybe terrifying experiences someplace?
I'm really, as far as terrifying goes,
or something that just took you back and made you,
Sure, I do. Well, there's really two. One of them happened in your jail, and that's well documented. It's in books. It's in the television world. I mean, it was extreme because we were coming. Well, I had come back through Ohio after Scarefest a few years back and was going to do a live broadcast from the jail, and that was all well and good. The ghosts there know me, and it wasn't my first time there. You had told them why I was coming, and they listened to you. And you had told them why I was coming. It was to promote the jail, to let the world know it was out there because it was not quite as infamous as it is now.
Yeah.
And we had a producer. So we were doing a Skype test call from the two locations we wanted to do the show from. Everything worked great on the third floor where I really had anticipated issues, and everything did not work so well in the first floor jail cell because they were angry because of where I had set up. And the fact
They
that
did not take that well.
They did not take that well. They did not take that well. And they started messing with my electronics, and they started doing all this stuff. And I'm sitting at this table where a man was found hung, looking at a computer that says I have no internet connection, on a Skype call with a man that says, I can hear you. You are connected. I will let you know what's happening.
Hardwired. We had her.
Yeah, I was hardwired. I was not Wi-Fi. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking at big iron jail cell doors that are not moving, but that I am hearing slam back and forth.
The blocks were so noisy.
Yes, and then they were banging on those the fire doors, which are actually outside, surrounded by a fence still, because it hasn't been that long since it was an active jail. And there's people stomping everywhere around me. Everything is happening. And I'm sitting there going, I'm not scared. I'm mad. Because I'm like, you know why I'm here. I am here to help you. Shelly told you why I was coming here. And you need to leave my stuff alone. So I didn't get scared. I got mad. Later, when I looked back at it, there was some concern. You probably shouldn't be yelling at prisoners who have abilities of ghosts in their house. Because they were already doing stuff. And yeah, ultimately we came to an understanding. They chilled, I chilled, and we used the portal to communicate. And I will be daggum if that was not a true and genuine conversation with someone I could not see.
Mm-hmm.
So we communicated. I let them know what was happening. When everything had calmed down, Shelly said, so can we do the segment from the jail cell? And the guy says, absolutely not. Did he not? It's exactly what he said. Absolutely not. And Shelly said, well, what about the third floor? He said, that's all right. So I was just like, well,
we went up there.
We did it upstairs.
and did that show. They were making noise up there.
Yeah.
My hair was messed with, and Kat saw it all moving when I'm like, I feel my hair being tugged on, and Kat says, I'm watching it.
Yeah, because it was lifted.
Okay. Yes, but they let it happen with no interference on the third floor.
And there was nothing. I mean, the broadcast was perfect. So,
Yes.
there was that. And, I had actually, and I don't have the notebook I wrote it down in. I have had experiences that I have forgotten. And I was actually talking to Rick McCollum, who is helping me as a cheerleader to write my book. And he said, you've never told me that. I said, well, I forget. I mean, it's not like I sit down and try to go through my experiences,
Mm-hmm.
But, I think probably the one that scared me, like actually it was time to go, was at the, I guess I can say it, they're going to tear it down. I don't even know who owns it anymore, but there's a hospital here in Birmingham. I was born there, called Caraway Hospital. And it has a big blue star on the top. So, and I actually got to go up to where the star is, and there was a astral phenomenon going on that night. So it was pretty cool.
And when we come back from this short break, Kat, we will talk about that hospital. Y'all are listening to Ghost Talk Radio here on WBHM-DB, Birmingham, Alabama.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Paratalk Radio is your one-stop for all things paranormal, the unknown, and the supernatural. Join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for discussions and guests on topics such as ghosts, hauntings, Bigfoot, UFOs, and more. This broadcast is rated M for mature and intended for listeners over 16 on paratalkradio.com.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope.
That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me, Angie Robertson, and for all you folks that are just sitting back recovering from New Year's, having a good day listening to the show. Today is our special New Year's show. We have all of WBHM-DB station show hosts on tonight, and we've all been talking about experiences and their actual shows. And when we left for break, Kat was going to tell us about this an experience at an old hospital, and let's finish off with that, Kat.
Well, it was so cool because, it was the coldest night of the year, so we knew that there were probably going to be homeless people in there, and that was fine, as long as we knew where they were. And so the City of Birmingham police walked through with us before we started and made sure that, where it could be secure it was, and where not to go where it wasn't. So that was pretty cool. We, when we started, we were on a surgical unit, and I actually saw and filmed my very first blob, and it had form, but it was like
Dark
almost
mask
like a
kind of thing.
It's like a manta ray, and it swooped and stuff, and I was like, oh, yuck. So, but I saw it, and I got it on video, and my partner was ahead of me, and I said, would you shine your light down this little hallway, please? And she shined the light, and it was like splat against the door at the end of the hall, and it just kind of ducked and folded and went under the door next to it. And it was like, I got that on camera. I said, so I'm trying to be calm and cool and collected, right? And I said, would you do that again, please? And she did, and there was nothing there. Nothing.
Wow.
We could not recreate it. So we were trying to find the guys to tell, see where they were. And bear in mind, there's no power. There's no heat. There's no anything. It's like 22 degrees outside. And
wow.
We were bundled up. And so, we're on the walkie-talkies. And they said, well, y'all need to come up here. We're on the 6th floor. So we got up to the 6th floor. And they're like, no, come in here. So we're banging on the door and nobody's coming to open it. And I look up and there's a face in the window. And I was like, what are you doing? Open the door. Mm-hmm. And they just looked at us. And then, went away. So I was on the walkie-talkie. I was like, why are you just looking at us? Come open this door. We're in the hallway, in the stairway. And they said, oh, well, where are you? We said, we're on the 6th floor. That's where you said you were. They said, no, we're on the 10th floor. And I'm like, no, there's somebody on this floor. And, so we had to go a whole different way because the stairwell doors were locked. You could not open them. So we went upstairs and came back down to that area. There's nobody there. And it was the psychiatric ward. Which none of us knew that. But they had a sign. And I was like, great. Now we have spirits of crazy people. Or crazy people. Or homeless people who, usually they're addicted and they have mental health issues. And it's not their fault. They just are. So I was like, either way, that was a little freaky. That one did kind of, wig me out somewhat. And they're going to tear that place down. So.
Well, and then we're going to have displaced spirits that's going to go.
Yep.
And inhabit another place. I think they do that. I truly do. Because we get so many transits here at the jail. Some of them, they visit off and on. Some of them come and talk to us and we don't hear from them ever again. We don't know who they are.
Right.
Well, I was going to say, if when you tear a place down, the intelligent ones tend to leave, but you also have the place memory of on the land.
Yes.
So you still might have some things going on there as well. That's just
even
the ones
in new buildings. Yeah, they even build new places on the land. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
the place still might be haunted. Depends on your psychic self.
And I will tell you that these spirits, I have witnessed this, I have filmed it. They move like a speed that you cannot even comprehend, because I captured one on a video. It was probably late 2015 here at the jail. And it looked like a ball of light flash. When I took that video and slowed it down as much as the software program would allow me to do it, you could see a lady walking. It was the most crazy thing because she was moving like so fast. And I didn't even catch it live. I caught it on a playback of the video. That's how fast that was. And you could see the flash of light go. I'm like, that was something. What the heck was that? And slowed it down. It's amazing how fast they can travel. Let me tell you.
That is amazing.
Yes. I want to know. I'm going to start this one off because I'm kind of obsessed with places. I want to know a place on everybody's bucket list that they would love to go and do an investigation at. I know everybody's got to have a bucket list place. And I'll tell you, one of my places that I would love, I mean, there's so many I want to visit because I've been to a lot of places, but there's still a lot of places I want to go and check out. But my bucket list, I actually have two, and one of them was the Dracula's Castle the inside of that, I just saw the pictures and I'm just so fascinated by it. And I know it just has to be haunted. And I would like to go to the suicide forest in Japan. And those are my bucket list places.
I would love to actually camp out at Akagahara Forest. That would just be so cool.
Oh my goodness.
So whenever you want to go, I'll go with you.
There you go.
All right. I will take you up on that offer because at some point I'm going to there, but they say, you shouldn't go any farther than the guide because all like your compasses and all your stuff won't work and people's been lost and never come out of there. And like, I don't know how far in I want to go, but I would love to go because I know it has to be just truly haunted. I know it has to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what about you, Denise? You got a bucket list place?
Yes, I do. It's going to sound odd, but it's a house I used to live in before my dad was killed. And it was the house that my dad was actually stabbed in. I want to go there and see if he's there sometimes. I doubt even that the people even that live there even know that this happened there. So, but it's a row home in Baltimore, Maryland. And so that's one of the places, personally, nobody else would probably even want to know. But me, I want to know if there's anything left that he needed to say that he hasn't gotten out already, But is that important? No. But there's also another house in Baltimore that I'd like to check out. It's an apartment, actually. And it's the apartment that my grandmother and grandfather lived in when she was killed. And it's in a place called Westport on Annapolis Road out there. And what's strange is we used to live 3 doors down in another house after this was when 3 doors down and across the street too. I mean, it's strange how we live so close together to places that we lived before. Some people, they move around in the same town. My dad had this hankering, I guess, for Annapolis Road because, I used to live in this apartment as well with my upstairs from my grandparents. And so long story, but yeah, those are the 2 places that I would like to check out only because of the family significance.
Sure.
Most of our bucket list places, Ron and I have been, in the United States anyway, so it's kind of hard to say, but I'd like to check out some places that nobody knows about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but that's me. Teal? Do you got a bucket list?
I have a long one, but I tell you one that kind of fascinates me is Rynham Hall in Norfolk, England. There is the Brown Lady, she was even captured on film in the December 1936 edition of Country Life. I mean, she's been seen so many times, and there's so many even skeptics who are like, oh yeah, no, the Brown Lady, yeah, for sure. So I'd kind of like to see that for myself. And also one you hear about all the time, but while you're over there, right, the Ancient Ram Inn in England. I'd like to go that because that's got more than 20 spirits in there. So those are a couple of mine. Yeah, and of course, I'm a castle hunter, so really you could take me in any castle and I probably there's probably something lurking there, either residual or intelligent. So there's it's kind of endless list, but I think those would be probably the Brown Lady. I think that would be like, I saw the Brown Lady. I would love that.
What about you, Pete? You got a bucket list?
Kind of yeah and kind of no. I wish that Borley was still around. That would have been my ultimate one if Borley was still around. Yeah. I've been doing poltergeist research for about the last 15 years or so. So I tend to like to go to residentials, and continue my research with that. If I was to actually go someplace that was available now, I think I would want to go someplace that has not been on TV or anything like that. So the normal places I wouldn't go to. That's just being me. I mean, there's too much information out there that is questionable. If I would do anything like that, I'd want to seal it down, and that's probably not going to happen. So I would probably just continue with my residential work.
Okay. Okay. What about you,
I'm
Brian?
sorry. I don't mean to be. I don't mean to be a wet blanket. I don't mean to be a wet blanket.
It's okay.
Yeah, you do. You're always a wet blanket. Stop it.
Yeah, whatever.
Actually, yeah, I'm kind of like with Teal on this. I've got a really long one, but we'll go with three of them. Chillingham Castle and Leap Castle are two that I would just love to investigate. But probably the one that I would love to go to the most, and you can go there during the day, but it's actually illegal. I mean, actually illegal to go there at night, is Bagram Fort over in India. That one is just one that I would love to be able to get permission to do an investigation at.
Wow. Good bucket list choices, y'all. What about you, Kat? You got a bucket list? Oh, nice.
I love.
Right. Right.
Hey, Kat, nobody can hear you. We can hear you, but nobody can hear you out there in Radio Land. Lori and Ron can't hear you.
That doesn't happen to me much. Can y'all hear me now?
We can hear you fine.
I can always
hear me.
No, you guys can hear. We can all hear. The listeners can't hear.
Okay,
So,
well, the
Ron-
Balgony Castle in Scotland, and I'm going to get a chance to do that. So, hopefully,
I have so many books on that. I love. You're just living my favorite places over there, Kat.
Well, these people have the best Scottish paranormal. I mean, they have a storefront. Like, if you're having paranormal problems, then you go into their store. Well, their office.
I'll pop by next time I'm over. I'm going to pop by and check it out.
Well, I would. I think that they're fantastic. They're in Edinburgh.
And my favorite.
Fife. I think they're in Fife.
Okay.
So, but
cool.
And they're just brilliant people. They educate, they talk about all the different equipment, and I'm looking forward to getting to actually meet them face to face. I feel that I know them all well. And we're going to be going to St. Andrews. There's just manor houses and castles and investigations of them and all the things.
There is a lot of places over there I'd love to go to. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and Lori Dorsey is actually going too. So she's going to be my roommate and travel buddy.
Great.
So I
took a look at that trip, and I'm like, that's going to be a fantastic experience.
Well, they're
great.
doing one coming up with Andrea Perrin, who I love and adore. And I'm just like, well, I need to do all of these. I need to do them all. And David's like, no, you really don't.
I need to win the lottery to do
I do need to win the
all.
lottery.
That's
I need
what
to drive to
do.
Georgia and get a ticket.
That's right.
So
that's right.
Because we don't have one. So,
right.
But those are, and also I would like to go to Belize and go through the Mayan ruins there, because I know there's got to be some, they don't know where they went, how they went, why they went, but they know they were there. So I think it would be great to go through those areas with equipment of some type and just explore somewhat. And they're very American friendly, and they use dollars.
I think Belize would be a really good place to not just go and maybe investigate some of the places, but a decent place to put up a vacation house. And if crap hits the fan here, well, there you go.
Well, one of my girlfriends did just that. They moved from Wisconsin in the fall, and as soon as Belize would let Americans in, they had to get their COVID test, and they had already bought a bed and breakfast there.
Fabulous.
So they
and
are
with
now
that, folks,
in.
We're up for a short break. Not mean to cut you off, Kat,
That's
but you
fine.
know what? It's a break time. Y'all are listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WBHM-DB out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back after this short message.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope.
That'll do. Hello, I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelly Robertson, and I want to thank everybody for tuning in on this glorious New Year's Day. Hopefully, 2021 will be better than 2020. It has to be, right? Today was a special show with all the show hosts here on WBHM-DB, and you got a chance to, listen to all of the show hosts and hear stories about experiences. And I think that I want to know, I'm always curious, what is everyone's favorite piece of equipment? And Pete, we're going to start with you. What's your favorite piece of equipment and why?
Oh, Lord. I would probably say my FLIR. It's.
I love that thing. Yes.
You can measure temperatures. The temperatures are converted into a video signal, so you can see what each temperature is doing. I just think it's very versatile. You really have to know, though, that how it operates. You just don't turn it on and point it at things, because it does. It does show reflective surfaces. It'll bounce that signal back to you, so you think you might actually have something, but it's a false positive. A lot of folks don't know that, but yeah, I mean that I like that. I also tri-field natural meter I use a lot too when I'm interviewing people.
Very awesome, very awesome. What about you, Brian? Favorite piece of equipment and why?
It is my very old Olympus VN 4100 PC recorder. I don't know what it is about that particular digital recorder, but it is amazing at actually capturing EVPs. The only problem I'm having with it now is the fact that because it is a old recorder and the software will not work on anything but an older version of Windows, and I basically use Mac now, I actually have to transfer everything in real time, which is a major pain in the you-know-what.
Yes.
But I will capture EVPs on that you will just not get on any other recorder. So I love it.
How about you, Teal? Favorite piece of equipment and why?
Well, I have to cheat a bit and have a couple. Often I'm brought on globally, just depends on where they want me, to be with different groups, to as like the guest psychic or something like that, going through the places. And so often I love to have the mix of people where you have people that are experts in their fields there, and then you have a lot of people who are completely newbies. They've never done anything like that before. And I've always found that the K2 meter and just a simple flashlight, but one that you have to click, something that it can't just easily go off and on by itself. I have found those to be actually the most unifying of everything, because they're so simple to use and so easy for people to see as they light up or turn off and on, joining in conversation and with spirit. And they just seem to be the easiest for a wide spectrum of people to enjoy. So I like that, because that's usually my main focus, is to take the fear out of all of these things and to make it something where people can understand, that these things happen. And also, it's just a great way for them to feel like they can have a little connection themselves on their own, without something that's maybe too technical for them to try to fool with as a first timer.
Sure. What about you, Denise? Favorite piece of equipment and why?
I'm going to have to go with my husband's favorite piece of equipment, because I'm always so busy telling him what I'm seeing, because I'm his favorite piece of equipment, but he likes to use the Echo Box. He's sitting there smiling and shaking his head at me about me being his favorite piece of equipment. But they use the equipment usually to validate what I'm telling them is happening. So
fantastic.
I don't usually use anything. I used to use dowsing rods all the time. In fact, I have a huge collection of them, but I hardly use them anymore.
Okay. What about you, Kat? Favorite piece of equipment and why?
That would be my digital voice recorder. If I don't have anything else, I've got a Sharp that I love. I have Tascams that I love too. But I get more on my phone because I'll just run my phone if I don't have anything else with me and I'm someplace that I'm getting, spoken to. Because I have to have something because, like Denise, I am a pretty good piece of equipment myself. But I like validation because I can say that I had all these experiences all I want, but I like to have something to back myself up. And
that is great. And I agree with that on the voice recorders because I like that as well. My favorite pieces is probably the portal because I just talk away to all of them here. I love that.
I love your portal too.
And the next piece would probably be here at the jail. I mean, elsewhere it might be something different, but here is the FLIR because we're getting the full apparitions on the FLIR, and especially during storms here, it's been so bizarre. I would say those are my favorite pieces to use here. And I'm going to give everybody an opportunity here to plug your shows, tell your next guest, so our listeners can know who's coming on and when your show is. And we will start with Teal. Let's plug your show and where people can find you.
Well, you're going to have quite a mix of people coming up this month. We've got people that are going to be speaking about cryptozoology. We have people that are going to be talking about psychic phenomenon and the science of that in some ways, and also going to have a little bit of mind-body connection and people who have had near-death experiences. And my show follows Kat's on Wednesday, 9:00 Eastern. And I have 1 hour show. So if you are listening to Kat, which of course you are, if you just hang out there on Wednesday night, you'll catch me.
Fantastic. What about you, Brian and Pete?
Go ahead, Brian.
Well, our next show is next Thursday, and we're going to have Lloyd Auerbach on. And at the moment, we're still not quite sure what we're going to be talking to him about. We've been waiting for him to get back to us. And so far he hasn't, but, that's not unusual considering, with the holidays and everything. But for the rest of the year, we're going to have all kinds of different shows. The reason we called it the Full Spectrum Project is because we're not going to be talking about just one different thing. We're going to, like with Teal, we're going to have people who speak about cryptids, ghosts. We're hoping to have a show about the Seneca guns, which is something that I really am interested in. So, yeah, we're going to have a full spectrum of different guests, and
your shows air on what night is your shows air?
It's Thursdays, 8 Eastern to 10 Eastern.
Yes. Fantastic.
Or like I like to say,
about you, Denise, and plug your show a little bit for everyone.
Well, my show is The Paranormal Pride. It's on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central. And my guests range from basically paranormal, mediums, that type stuff. And every once in a while, I'll throw in a survivor, somebody who goes out there and survives in the woods or whatever, because I like that stuff. I've been trying to get some new people on the show, maybe related to distilleries and things like that, because I want to go with what I like. I like liquor. I don't drink it, but I like it. But I like the history of distilleries. And if you guys saw recently the Old Crow Distillery on the what was that show? The Sphere ones, Destination Fear. Been there twice. Okay, I've been there twice. I love the place, but I love the history of the distilleries, and I think most of them that I've been to have been haunted. So there's so many things that I could talk about there, spirits, and this way we can learn more about the kind in the bottle while we're hunting for the kind that aren't. But you can find me every Monday night at 7 o'clock, as long as 7 o'clock Central, as long as I'm not on hiatus for some good reason.
I agree.
Denise, can I ask Denise a question?
Sure.
Did you ever talk to the Survivor man? Because I know that he had some. He's seen Bigfoot. I think he's done like 2 specials. Have you ever talked to him?
No, but we have tried his whiskey that's called Roaming Man from Sugarland's Distillery.
Oh, okay.
So we're hoping someday to run into him there at some point, because I love Les Stroud.
Yeah, that's him. Okay.
But cool. we love all those shows. In fact, there's a new one coming on the Weather Channel here in a couple days.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
With Freak. So yeah, it's strange. I have a wide array of interests.
And Kat, do we need to even give you any introduction on show plug? You've been doing this quite a long time. Have a big old fan base. Let's go with it.
Well, Fate Mag Radio is on Sunday nights from 8 to 10 Eastern, and that is the online voice of Fate Magazine. I've just gotten news about my mom, and I'm not sure that I'm going to go live Sunday. I probably will. But on Wednesday, on Paranormal Experience with Kat Hobson, I have Mike Ricksecker and May Hernan, who are going to be talking about Mike's trip to Wales. So I'm very interested in hearing about that, because I have friends who live in Wales, but I don't know much. But on Fate coming up, we're going to have Janice Carlson, who is going to be doing the predictions for 2021. And I really hope they're better than 2020.
I hope he doesn't come up with Godzilla.
Huh?
I hope he doesn't come up with Godzilla.
Me too, but we've had every biblical plague pretty much.
Right.
So
right.
I hope we're at the bottom of the list. I'm really excited because I have Lionel Friedberg coming on, who's a brilliant author, and so much more, on the 17th. And on the 31st, I have William Henry coming on, who is, people pretty much know him from Ancient Aliens, but he is a brilliant researcher. He is going to be joined by his wife Claire, who I think the world of, and she is a very interesting woman in her own right. So I'm very excited to welcome William and Claire. So I think that's going to be a great show, because people get all excited because of Ancient Aliens, and it is a fantastic program. I know a lot of people from it, but I am excited specifically about this because he is a very spiritual man, and she is just going to blow people's socks off. Not everybody. I got to hear her lecture at an Alien Con, and I was like, "You did what?" And so, ever since then, she has been one of my heroes, and I'm glad that she's going to be joining William.
And folks, we're going to go over a couple of minutes, and here's why. I've got to tell you some exciting stuff that's going on at the jail coming up here. You guys are going to want to hear about it. We have coming in February, and the dates for this special event is it's running on February 7th and Valentine's, February 14th. We have a new escape game coming. Santiago Cirillo of The Walking Dead and Rosalie and Ruthless and many, many, many other TV shows. He will be here for those games. And the
Santi's a good guy.
He is a great guy.
Yeah.
He is a hoot.
Yes, I just like him so much. And he is going to be at the jail, actually, Thursday, February 4th for a meet and greet. He's going to be here Friday and Saturday, the 5th and 6th, for a ghost hunt. He will be here on the 7th for the escape games. And the following week, on Thursday the 11th, another meet and greet. The 12th and 13th, he'll be here for ghost hunts. And on the 14th for escape games. And what's so great about this theme is it's the rise of Gualtero and his vampire army. How perfect is that for Valentine's Day, right? The vampires take over the jail, and it becomes their new lair, and you have to escape before they drain you of your blood, and you have 60 minutes to do it. So that's going to be so fun.
Can I ask you something about when you, can I ask you something about that when you run those games? Since you have since you have a lot of really interactive energies out there, how does that happen before or after? What goes on?
Let me tell you. Of course, everyone signs a waiver of liability who plays these games, and I explained to him the building is haunted because a lot of people, we book out the sessions, and sometimes they don't know any of the story of the jail. They just see the advertisement out there, escape game in a 1876 old jail, So they come, and I tell them, what we really do here is this. And it's a haunted place. So we've had spirits interacting with the players, freak them out. We have had locks pop open on their own from what we couldn't see who did it. The audio that gets streamed through the building gets messed with all the time. Speakers get crashed around. I mean, they are very active during some of the games, and they're very active. But I let them know, we run the games to raise the money to keep fixing up your house. So they don't completely shut them down, but they do cause havoc sometimes, And so it's very interesting sometimes. And I've got lots of videos where just paranormal things have happened during the gameplays, and it's quite amazing. And then if anybody wants a game session ticket, go to jailbreakcode9, and that's the number 9.com, and you can get your reservation in for one of the games. Santiago will be here, and if you want to go to attend his meet and greet or his ghost hunt, you can find the tickets at 187pi.com for that. And a special thing I got to tell you about that whole meet and greet is he's going to be doing a special presentation, and he's got a series called Smoke, and it's a paranormal series, scripted fiction, and he is looking for folks to fill some of the roles in the series. So if you want a shot at being in a paranormal TV series called Smoke, you'll want to attend the meet and greet. Then at the end of March 27th, we have Doogie McDougal from the Ghost Asylum and Haunted Live. We have him. He's going to be here along with Jason Hale and Jeremy from the Fearless Ones. They're all going to be here for a ghost hunt, and that's the 27th of March, and tickets are up on the board for that. And these tickets are moving kind of quick. So if you want to attend either one Santiago's ghost hunts or Doogie and Jason and Jeremy's ghost hunt, probably ought to get your tickets. And don't worry, folks, if the country shuts down again, you got your option to get your money back, okay? We're not going to hold your money hostage, okay? So, find us on Facebook. We also update everything. Just type in 187PI in your Facebook search. We'll pop right up. You follow us, you'll be kept up to date on all the stuff we're doing here at the jail. And now comes the time I want to thank you all for taking time out of the very first day of this new year to listen to our special broadcast with all the show hosts. I had a great time, and I wish you all a pleasant evening and a fantastic weekend. And I know the new year has to be better than the last, okay? And with that, I want to say good night, everyone. Good night, friends.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope.
That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.